Good morning. Welcome to Market Wake Up. My name's Jordan. This is John, and you're in the one-stop shop to get you up to date with everything that you need to know ahead of your trading day. Today is the 5th of November, 2024. I can hear myself yelling at myself. 2024. You know what that means, John? Today's election day. Today's election day, baby. Macro traders, put on your hats. Let's get in to Market Wake Up. 5th of November, 2024. The day we'll be looking back on as traders going, John, do you remember that one time we attempted to trade the US election that was a 50-50 split? No. How are you feeling this morning, John?
Yeah, I'm feeling good, mate. I'm feeling good. Just having a little look around at what's going on. Obviously, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because I've expected some more oomph in the markets, a bit of oomph, and that has still yet to be seen, in my opinion. So really no oomph behind anything. We did see, obviously, at the end of last week, stocks closing lower a little bit of volatility yesterday in terms of the Trump trade was being sort of unwound a little bit because I think what happened basically was Kamala, or the polls showed that Kamala was potentially leading in Iowa, which was known to be a sort of a kind of Trump Republican. And Trump won that in the previous two elections. So that was quite interesting to see. Obviously, polls are polls. We don't know what the full results will be. So it's going to be an interesting one. I don't think, although this could be one of the biggest in history, I'm contemplating whether I stay up for it or not. I'm contemplating whether I sit up overnight.
No, I think as someone who's based in the UK, you're probably better off getting up for it. I don't know about staying up for it. I think it's going to be a late one. But yeah, I don't think it's worth it. I've been through these elections before, and it's very hard to know when it's going to be called. So you're staying up thinking, hey, this could be half an hour, but then in reality, it's 6 hours. And yeah. Ibrahim, welcome to Market Wake Up. It's just piped in chat. Guys, if you are in chat, throw in your messages, say good day, tell us where you're coming from, tell us where your cards are for this election. And that's the interesting one. What would be the direction of the dollar if Trump wins? I believe that's what he's tried to ask there. Today, I'm going to explain it. We're going to get through our usual show, right? And then in the big bite today, John, I've got my playbook. I've spent all morning diving into if-then statements, and I have a playbook for today.
Good, because I don't, so I'm looking forward to this. I'm going to
share with you my plan on how I'm going to trade through this election and how I'm going to position myself post-election. And I want you guys to grill it. I want to know your opinion. I want to know if you think it'll work. I want to know your trade plan through this election. But I'm going to share with you what I've interpreted through both policies. Keep in mind, throughout this whole stream, neither John or I are American. It does not impact us. Oh, actually, it does. It impacts global economies. But it is not something we get a say in, nor do I have any kind of political bias. I don't really care who wins. Parts of me do, but I'm never going to tell you what that is just because of how it impacts the Aussie dollar and all that other stuff, okay? But I do not have a political leg to stand on, should I say. I'm looking at this solely and holistically as a trader that wants to benefit and make money. Now, if you're a trader and you don't really care about the politics, you just want to make money from this event, you're in the place. You're in the right place. But before we get into that, John, market leftovers. Anything caught your eye this morning? RBA, steady hands, right? They're as cruisy as you like. No panic. Just sit there. 435 is where we're sitting at with the interest rates. Aussie dollar didn't really even get much of a reaction because everyone was like, good call, steady hands, safe bet. Anything else really grab your attention over the weekend, perhaps?
No, not really. Just apart from the situation with Kamala and winning, or not winning, but like ahead in polls in Iowa. Other than that, the market's been very cool, calm, and collective. One little headline that I think has gone slightly under the radar is apparently Iran are preparing an retaliation against Israel, and they're going to send over more rockets that are quote unquote more powerful. So that's quite interesting if we're looking at what's going on with oil prices at the moment. Oil prices just kind of staying a little bit steady right now, and they're just kind of, sitting around. I think like most markets waiting for some kind of catalyst to take off. And so that's the only kind of headline I've seen when that retaliation will come. I have no idea. Obviously, we're going to have no idea when that happens. But I think that will be interesting because we talked about a couple of weeks ago that the price of oil has fallen because Israel didn't target Iran's energy facilities and whatnot. And we were just kind of like, well, I don't understand how the market can price that in because at any significant moment that can change. And that's looking quite likely right now because if I was Israel, that is what I would do. Knock out the economy of another country, and they essentially can't pay to attack back. So that's a situation that's brewing in the background. Obviously, the election has taken over in the past week, the past few days, really. So it's going to be interesting. Actually, I kind of guess we should touch on the jobs number that came out. Well, boy, did we get that wrong. Well, I did anyway.
I give myself
you came fairly close. You came fairly close.
I wasn't too far. We were outrageous in our bets, but it's jobs numbers. One thing I am proud of is the revision. Yeah. I didn't nail it. I got the total number correct. I got the way that we got to that total number wrong, right? Yeah. So I've thrown a ball down the wrong alley, but I've got a strike. So I'm going to take the strike and I'm going to wear it, right? It was a little bit unintentional, but yeah, I wasn't too far away. I was pretty proud of that jobs number. Yeah. America shouldn't be, but I was.
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing was we both said it'd be lower, so that was a good thing. But I definitely underestimated how low it was. A lot of the talk has been because of the strikes and obviously the hurricane that happened over there. But I was looking at another report. I don't know whether I don't think I can bring it up, but I think I saved it on my phone, you see. And they were talking about there was actually some significant job losses in the employed area. I'll see if I can find it.
Yeah,
I was looking at the sort of report.
To add to that too, I mean, ISM manufacturing PMI came in lower too. Forecasted growth, it actually dropped down to the 46s. Like we're getting closer to Germany levels. Like we don't want to be anywhere but near the 45s, never mind down the 40s where Germany is. 46.5 forecasted to get growth from 47, and we've actually cut off 0.7.
Yeah.
That's not great news.
No, it's not great news. And I'm just looking at this report. The household data was basically saying that 368,000 lost their jobs for the month, which is significant. Out of the jobs that were created, 40,000 of them were government jobs. So
you gotta get those budgets across the line.
That's not looking good for the private sector at the moment. So, yeah, I mean, I think the next NFP, I think we'll probably see a revision higher than 12,000, to be honest. But that was just something interesting that I found that I wanted to just kind of point out was the fact that there's been some significant people not sort of working for this month or last month, sorry. Yeah, which is very, very interesting. Whether that's because again we're kind of building up to the election as well. Companies aren't necessarily doing much before that, are they? Because they want to know who wins, what the policies are going to be. It's very similar to what happened in the UK when we were going through the election. A lot of people were just holding back. Even with the budget, a lot of companies were holding back before we even got to find out what it was. They weren't going to spend anything because in case they needed it for other or needed it for investment elsewhere. So, yeah, really interesting to see those insights from NFP. how that would impact this week, I don't know. Obviously, it's going to be a bit of a crazy one this week because we haven't only got the election. We have 3 central bank announcements as well. So, yeah, you know, we had the RBA today, but we've also got Bank of England.
The greatest one of them all.
Of course, and then the Bank of England, as well as the US Federal Reserve meeting at the end of the Thursday as well. So it's a tasty one.
Is a wild bet for everyone at home. If Trump wins, is it Jerome Powell that speaks at the Fed meeting later this week?
We can bet on that. Let's see.
There's an angle. If Trump wins, does Jerome Powell get the chance to speak? When is it? Thursday?
Thursday, yeah.
Or does he just come straight out the gates and go, "You're fired"? Right, old TV show style. But that'll be there's your fun angle. But no, look, let's transition into freshly squeezed. Let's get an idea of where we're at. John, I'm going to put you on the spot. Where's the VIX?
21.2.
21.89 is where we're sitting at the moment. Not too far, really pincing in. We're expecting this. Today's the day where it's going to go through the roof, I think. Today's the day where the VIX, you'll find it post-election or post-early voting, depending on which direction that is going to go. I can sit here and run you through what is coming up today. I don't think it matters. And I'm telling you bluntly, I can tell you a range of different news releases which are coming out today. We can lean in to that of ISM Services PMI. Usually pretty important information there, John. Okay, we can lean into the government, the pound's 10-year bond auction. Pretty good pricing, actually, around that. I can lean into the New Zealand dollar unemployment rate tomorrow. I could, but it doesn't matter. No, nothing is going to move the markets more than what we're talking about today, and it's Trump or Harris. That's as simple as it gets. Is it Trump? Is it Harris? That's as far as I can go. What do you reckon?
I don't. Yeah, none of that information is going to be important until this announcement and it all dies down. And you've got to remember as well, even though we've got the votes in, it doesn't mean that it's going to be concrete.
Nope.
In 2020, it took 3 days, I think, before it was concrete, because what they tend to do is you kind of know who's won, but then they do like recounts and all that kind of stuff.
And this is going to be close. I can almost can anyone actually? This is going to be interesting. Can we bet on there's going to be a recount?
Probably. I don't think you'll get good odds on it. Probably not. But yeah, it's quite interesting to see the pricing at the moment. I was just looking at the poly market pricing right now, and they took Trump from 66% basically in the in terms of the odds of winning, down to 55.9 over the weekend, and Harris moved up from 33% up to 44%, which I thought was quite interesting. Trump is now back up to the 60s, but it's just showing you how tight this race has become, and we're going to see this a lot especially when it comes to like going towards the sort of on the night, the swing states and whatnot, where we see Trump take over there. There's been a lot of talk that Harris is doing okay in the swing states as well, but Trump relatively needs sort of 3 big swing states to really kind of take over. All the estimates anyway right now are saying he needs 3 swing states to really kind of take that over. Now the swing states, I've just got them in front of me, according to News Squawk at the moment: Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. With Pennsylvania seen as the key state. So basically, they're saying it's likely but not possible that a candidate will not win the election without it. So Pennsylvania is going to be an interesting one to have a little look at. And you don't usually see the swing states immediately. You usually see them a little bit later down the line.
Which Right now, Pennsylvania, based on betting odds, is in favor of the Republicans. 59.5% Republican swing. So I will jump more into this now. Let me get you up to date with where prices are at this morning. You can see on the side of my screen here, there's a lot of green, John. There's a lot of green, which is interesting to see. Now, if we're looking at currencies, it makes sense. The US dollar falling off a little bit ahead of this. But looking in equities, a lot of green across the board. It's quite interesting to see. Aussie dollar is up 0.5% today after the RBA did exactly what they said they were going to do and what exactly everyone predicted they would do. Held rates. The euro is up 0.3%. The pound's up 0.2%. The US dollar CAD's down 0.15%. US dollar Japanese yen's up 0.06%. The XJO unchanged. The DAX, wow, couldn't get that one out. The DAX is relatively unchanged as well. The Nikkei is up 0.45%. The FTSE is up 0.24% early trading hours, and the FTSE is pretty much unchanged pre-market. Coffee's finding a bit of strength, up 0.83%. Gold up 0.1%. Nat gas up 0.9%. Silver up 0.5%. Sugar down 0.2%. Oil unchanged. Bitcoin up 1.4%. Ethereum up 1.52%. Bitcoin trying to make a little bit of a move higher. A nice uptrend that we've got at the moment, actually, looking across those cryptocurrencies. US bonds relatively unchanged. I'm expecting that to change a lot over the next, let's go 48 hours. I'm expecting bonds to move. Treasury yields as well. I am forecasting. Are you ready to hear my playbook for today?
I'm ready. Let me get my pad out.
Get your pad out. Let's get in to the big bite. Welcome to the big bite, everyone. If it's your first time joining us at Market Wake Up, the big bite is a key analysis moment. It's something both John and I are looking at, and we share with each other a little trade idea, a little piece of analysis, a piece of information we believe we should know, or even something to challenge. And today, because it's the 5th of November, 2024, I wanted to share with you essentially my playbook for this election. A few things we need to know. Step one, I am predominantly cash right now. Predominantly cash, right? Moving into this election, I haven't had the balls to call it. I still don't have the balls to call it. I really don't. If we look at the betting odds, which obviously John was just talking about there. Now, you mentioned something about Iowa and a move into polls. I'm going to say that poll is BS. This is the beauty between polls and betting odds. The poll might have hinted that, hey, they're finding a bit of strength. The Democrats are finding a bit of strength in Iowa. The betting odds are saying there's an 85% chance that the Republicans take Iowa. So I hear you. Not buying it. Betting odds are for me.
Trump will agree with you.
Trump would agree with me. Now, this is what's interesting. When you have a look at House control, the Democrats are sitting at 50.8%, while the Republicans are sitting at 49.3%. But when you have a look at the US presidency, you do see Harris in current betting odds from Polymarket sitting at 42.8%, with a Trump with a strong 56.8%. And he's up 2.2% in the last 24 hours. So he is finding a little bit of strength behind Trump, and I do think that's why we are seeing a little bit of a bullish move in crypto here early morning. I think it might be just the standard crypto market getting ahead of themselves a little bit and having a little bit of fun. But as betting odds show, now I'm talking betting odds because one, they're proactive, and two, I do prefer looking at the odds where people are putting their money and where things are going compared to looking at polls. I think polls can be very easy to change. You know, I can say, yeah, I surveyed 1,000 people and they all said Trump's going to win. I could have been at a Trump rally doing that survey. Of course, they're all going to say Trump wins. So polls can really get a little bit pushed around. Betting odds, it's where people are putting their money is. And I know what most people might think. Yeah, but it's only gamblers that do the betting odds. You're wrong. Big firms, big money players, they're traders. They love a gamble. And Polymarket and Betfair and all these sites, they're another way of trading your analysis. And I can assure you that there's big money in some of these odds, especially when it comes to an election. Insane. I want to run you through if Trump wins playbook, if Kamala wins playbook. Okay. And then short term, no matter what happens, playbook. No matter what happens, I'll start with. We're going to get a big move over the next 24 hours. I don't know in what. I don't know. Which direction? I don't know. One thing I do know is I plan on fading it. That's a big call. That's a big call. But I do think for the first 24 hours, 48 hours, we will see a massive reposition. I then want to fade it. Simple.
What market, though? What market are you going to fade? Does it matter what market it is?
It depends what moves.
Okay.
So that's hard to say. That's the thing, because I don't know, because through doing this analysis, I have realized that they are so perfectly against each other.
Right.
And what I mean is, if Trump wins, buy this asset, and on the exact same asset, if Kamala wins, sell it. And that's what I found with a lot of my analysis. So what asset I'm going to fade depends on what moves. It'd be more towards US dollars, and it'll be more towards equities.
Yeah, I think a good one to potentially look at is Aussie US dollar, because if Trump comes in, then the tariffs on China could be aggressive. China, we know, is in a bit of a slump right now. So that could be an interesting one to look at, if we do see any kind of big moves.
So, let's chat about it. Let's get into it. If Trump wins, who wants to start with if Trump wins? Let's start with if Trump wins. If Trump wins, I've got a few things I want to buy.
Okay.
Right now, keep in mind, everything I say here is not financial advice. It is not a signal. It is not something you should go and do. This is merely something I'm thinking about doing, and I'm sharing my thought process so you can learn how our brains work when we macro trade. This is not a signal. This is not something you should blindly do. This is not financial advice. This is just merely my opinion. Okay.
Yeah.
If Trump wins, I'm going long crypto. Bluntly.
Makes sense.
Not heavy, not going all in. Oh my God, put the house on it. This is incredible. But I will expose a large portion of my portfolio to go long crypto. Simple. The next thing I'll be looking at is internal equities. And what I mean by that is manufacturing based in the US, creating jobs and selling. Selling externally is probably better. Building internally is where I want to sit. I've added a lot of brackets in when it comes to internal equities. Tesla is the big one. Anything Elon Musk touches, they have been best buddies recently. I struggle to see how that relationship doesn't play out. Right? Yeah. I think there's more to it. They're both very intelligent gentlemen. They know what they're doing, and Elon's playing his cards there. Okay, so Tesla, SpaceX, anything kind of he's got his hands on, I think we'll see a little bit of bullish power over the next couple of years. Energy and industrials. We all know the anti-progressive approach that Trump has. Doesn't care about going to renewables, doesn't believe that the country could uphold itself on renewables. He's got a bit of science that backs him in that. He will go back to traditional manufacturing and getting it done properly, using oil, burning gas, you name it. So anything internal, energy, minerals, industrial type things within the US, I think we'll find a bit of bullish power. That also included with oil and gas companies as well. Actually, the product as a whole, I think the demand for oil and gas will go through the roof if Trump wins. I do think there'll be a lot of people there. On the opposite, the sell, it will be almost all emerging markets. That's as heavy as it comes. I'm looking at Asia. I'm looking at India. I'm looking at China. Emerging markets, those ones that I'm invested in currently. Going, I can see the growth. The man loves the word tariff. He loves the word tariff, and he has the balls to do it. And he has, realistically, I can see it working. I really can for America and what he wants to do and how he wants the United States to be. I can see it working. The bad news is it makes it incredibly tough for emerging markets to come up and out. So where they're heavily invested in at the moment, I can't see it going too well. So all out of emerging markets, not shorting, but out of them. And then I'd also be looking at proactively shorting any renewables Okay, any companies that are progressive in renewables, which is interesting because that's also Tesla. But we'll see how that plays out. And ESG funds. ESG funds, I've never been a fan of them anyway. I think when investing, you invest to get the best possible return. I'm not too fussed about investing in an environmentally friendly firm if it's not going to perform. So I do think those will take a big hit. That's if Trump wins. Right. So to sum it up, long crypto, long energy and industrial equities, anything Elon Musk touches, and oil and gas. I can see oil and gas doing quite well if Trump wins. On the opposite, if he wins, emerging markets are going to have a tough time. Don't want to really be in emerging markets right now. Okay. The opposite. Let's get over to Kamala. Let's get over to Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party. Very big. The opposite of Trump, on progressive, right? Likes understanding what the American people want. They want to go renewable energies. They want to go green. They want all this other woke stuff that comes with it, right? That's the way they want to take it. Green energy stocks, ESG funds, good investment. Yeah. Kamala gets up. We know they're going to spend money on it. We know we're going to push it. Okay. Treasuries. I'm going to unpack that in a minute. Right, but treasury bonds, I think, are going to be interesting. Look at treasury bonds if Kamala wins. Emerging markets, this is quite the opposite. Let's get in emerging markets because Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party are very pro fair trade. They've got a lot of big deals, even like the AUKUS deals with the submarines. Right, they will try to bring back this global trade median and be happy and fair and all along that line. So in the event that happens, it's a stable condition, and in a stable condition, investors feel more proud to go on a risk on. Okay, if you go on a risk on, emerging markets are a fantastic place to be. So Trump wins, bad emerging markets. Kamala wins, good emerging markets. Okay, that's how we sit there. Looking to sell if Kamala wins, straight out it's the US dollar. Don't want to be in the US dollar. It's oil and gas stocks. Okay, because I think the value of oil and gas is not going to do too hot, and any American stocks that are involved in oil and gas, and that's majority the reason for that is for that pro renewable energy facility agenda, which they want to push. Okay, so to sum up, Kamala, I'm going long fair investments. I'm going to call them fair investments, right? Green energy, emerging markets, shorting the US dollar, shorting oil and gas stocks, not the product, stocks that are involved in. Okay. Treasuries is the other one I've said I'm going to buy Kamala. Now, what I like about this situation, which is fun to be a spectator, is Trump is very stop taxing everyone so much and let's make the rest of the world pay for the tax. Yeah. If he actually goes through with that, the inflation battle is going to be reignited. Yeah. If you go right now, and we know what's happening right now in the economy, we've been tracking it here at Market Wake Up for a long time. If you go right now and cut everyone's taxes massively and corporate earnings goes through the roof and household earnings goes through the roof, that doesn't mean people are going to put it in their bank and invest it somewhere. It means they're going to go spend it. That's money. All right. And if they go spend it, that means CPI goes up. And if CPI goes up, then we know the Fed need to increase interest rates. Now, we know Trump doesn't like the Fed. He arguably wants to get rid of the Fed. He wants to control the whole thing. So there is a large area of uncertainty when it comes to the inflation battle, which we're already facing right now and how that acts. Kamala on the other side, very squish inflation and then move to unemployment. That's proactive. I want to get rid of inflation, make sure that's done and dusted. Hand in hand with the Fed. They love each other. All right, they're hand in hand with the Fed. The Fed like Kamala. Kamala likes the Fed. It's like, hey, let's work together to get this inflation under control. Safe. That's how it's perceived. Safe. If that is the case, then we can assure, or we can assume, should I say, that they will continue to fight the inflation battle, which means that the bond yields will fall. And if the bond yields fall, we know the demand for bonds rises. So treasury bonds is where that comes in. Treasury bonds with Kamala, right? Now, I've just thrown a lot of information at you. Let me just quickly recap. One Loft Racing has popped in and said gold, silver. Don't care. I don't care about it.
Yeah, you don't like gold, but you like a bit of silver, but you're not a fan of gold.
Silver I can play with, but silver I've played enough with the year. I'm happy with silver. I like where we're priced. I think there's still potential upside. Is it a play here? No, I think you can make more money elsewhere. They're just two shiny assets that are going to do nothing and be boring. All right. I think there's more money to be made elsewhere. Put it bluntly, one loft. It's nothing personal. I just don't like gold. But I think, I know it's where most people look because it's the first thing you think of. But I think if you think outside the box, you can triple, quadruple your return on the exact same analysis on a better asset. You really can. And I've learned that the hard way over the years. That's why it's personal. But to sum all that up, Trump wins equities, internal equities, pro-America equities, cryptocurrency, okay, and oil and gas, natural gas. That's where I'm going. If he wins as well, selling emerging markets, the biggest one, and renewables/ESG funds. If Kamala wins, green energy stocks, renewables, emerging markets, and treasuries. Okay, and selling on the opposite is the US dollar, as well as oil and gas stocks. That's my playbook.
Makes a lot of sense to me. That's something that I'm looking into as well. I was quite interested to see how the sort of hedge funds were positioned going into this, and they are sort of very negative US dollar right now. They're very long equities at the moment. Very short the VIX, which was a very interesting thing to me, because considering that usually you'd see the VIX rise, so it was quite interesting to see that they're aggressively short in that sense. From a gold and silver point for me, a little story that I had back in 2016. I tried to trade gold, and I stayed up for the entire election, and it didn't go well for me, because I thought Trump coming into power. This is how I used to think. Trump is bad. Bad means, but bad means buy gold. And I've learned so much since then. But that was me back in 2016. So I ended up buying gold. It started off well, and then turned out to be a very bad move by me. But yeah, that's an interesting asset to look at. I think, to be honest, in the grand scheme of things, I'm on the side of fading whatever happens as well. So I think if there's a big move,
first few days.
Yeah. I think if there's a big move in a particular direction, one that I'm really looking at is sort of like equity markets. I think if US equities kind of drop through significant areas and kind of move aggressively lower, then I feel like there could be some good rebounds in those markets. So that's where I'm kind of focusing a bit of my attention right now.
I personally, I personally see a world where no matter who wins, equities go up.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like that's
I see, because on one side it's it's Trump, who is pro-America, pro-equities. So it's like, yes, sweet, like let's get into equities because he's going to go. And then if it's not Trump, it's Kamala Harris, which is more safe, right? And I like more predictable. You kind of know how things are going to run. And in the event they're more predictable, that means you can be riskier because you can risk manage a little bit. And when you want to go a little riskier, you go equities. Yeah. So I see a seesaw effect there. Like if the initial reaction is negative stocks, I'm happy to buy up. The thing I'm worried about is how much we correlate with 2007 and what happened in 2008, right? It was a year later from all the data, which is exactly what's happening now, that we really felt the trauma of that. That's kind of the play.
Quite interesting as well. Sorry, just to add one thing. When you saw the NFP number, I thought stocks would be very bearish off of that, but they closed higher on the day. Tell me that.
I don't know what equity traders are doing at the moment. We put in a poll in chat today. Whose side are you on, Trump or Kamala Harris? Which is a little political in the wording there, right? Which I don't like, but that is controversial. But as an investor, I'm gonna read it out. 42 votes throughout the stream on YouTube.
42. That's a lot. Wow. 42. Thanks, guys.
Do you want to take a swing? What do you reckon we got? The option was Trump, Harris, or neither.
Oh, neither.
Neither's in there too.
Oh, that's throwing me a little bit. That's kind of hedged my bets. Do you know what? I saw a very similar poll on the New York Times yesterday in a live stream they were doing, and 80% went for Trump.
Wow.
Which I thought was really surprised me. I think the internet is leaning towards Trump.
Again, take a swing at some percentages. You got 3 options.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to say 60% Trump, 32% Harris, and then some in the neither.
We got 66% Trump.
Okay.
19% neither. 14% Harris.
Oof. See, I feel like the internet is going for Trump. You guys at the internet, by the way, you viewers. You guys...
It is, yeah, we're talking about you. No, but guys, look, tomorrow we don't have a stream. We don't have a stream because instead, what we're going to be doing is hosting a very special event called the Ultimate Trading Toolkit, whereas we brought majority of the TradeDelicious team together to compete to create a trading toolkit. John and I are representing Market Wake Up tomorrow to do this. We've built a 14-page toolkit that you guys are going to get for free, right? This is a link to the stream. I'm going to put it in the chat. Head over there. Make sure you've hit the little notification button so you can join us tomorrow. This is where we'll be streaming at 9 a.m. GMT. I was going to say BST. It was not GMT. This time tomorrow, we'll be streaming there, presenting our toolkit where you can download it for free. Come and show us some support. We're going up against some guys who have a much larger channel and a much larger audience. So we're going to be outnumbered. I want you guys in there. I want you guys to be loud. We'll see you there tomorrow. And then post that, you'll see us as we come through. You'll see Gil dropped in a little newsletter link in the chat earlier. Head over. Get more information from us. You'll see more from us. John, it's been a pleasure. We'll see you guys tomorrow at the Ultimate Trading Toolkit. Let's go.
Peace.